So now let's talk about if we want to achieve diversity gain instead of multiplexing gain with a MIMO setting, how would we go about achieving the diversity gain with the MIMO setting? So again, we have this channel model y is equals to hx plus n, where remember this H is a MR cross MT channel matrix, right? And then now we don't want to transmit multiple channels, multiple symbols from each of the transmitting antennas. What we want is that we want to transmit the same symbol or a signal from each of these transmitting antennas, and should we want to receive the same signal at the receiving side, and we want to improve the received signal to noise ratio, or we want to improve the diversity, we want to increase the diversity gain. In other words, we want to improve the error performance curve. So let's see how can we go about this, right? So remember we said that this H can be decomposed into three matrices: U, sigma, and V Hermitian, where U and V both are unitary matrices. So remember, this U matrix would have a dimension of MR cross MR, and this V matrix would have a dimension of MT cross MT. Remember that is because this U matrix contains the eigenvectors of the channel matrix H Hermitian, because it has eigenvectors of H Hermitian. And so it was eigenvalue decomposition of this, and that gives you this U matrix. And then similarly, in order to compute this V matrix, uh, you computed the eigenvectors of H Hermitian H, and you computed the eigenvalue decomposition, and that gives you the V matrix. So this U matrix would have these columns. So this column 1, column 2, and there would be MR different columns. And these are stacked together such that this first column corresponds to the highest singular value. So remember, this sigma is a diagonal matrix containing the singular value sigma 1, sigma 2, right, all the way to sigma RH, where these sigma values or the singular values are arranged in the in a order such that sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2, greater than sigma 3, and so on. Right? So that is, right, these are arranged in a descending order. So you have the sigma 1 has the highest magnitude. So this first vector, let's call it a u vector or u1 vector, right? So we would make use of this u vector or u1 vector interchangeably. So this u1 vector is a vector that is related to the highest singular value, right? Similarly, when we carry out the eigenvalue decomposition of H Hermitian H, then you would have uh, the eigenvectors would be stacked in the matrix V. So this was the U matrix. Similarly, you would have V matrix, which have um, this these column vectors, and the first column vector V1 would be would correspond to the highest highest eigenvalue of H Hermitian H. Right. So when we would convert um, this V Hermitian, we compute the V Hermitian, so you would have these columns, they would now be stocked in terms of rows, and the first eigenvector would now be this row, that would be V1 conjugate, like this. So that would be UV Hermitian. So now all of this is would be used when we carry out when we want to achieve the diversity gain from the MIMO systems. So now if you want to compute, if you want to achieve a diversity gain only from the MIMO system, you would do what? Remember, we said that we trans, trans, we at the transmit side we do a pre-coding using the V matrix. At the receiving side we would reshape with U Hermitian. We would do a similar thing, but now we would do that only with these first vectors. So you would pre-code um, you would pre-code your signal from the first eigenvector of this V matrix, and then you would at the receiving end you would reshape with the first eigenvector of the U matrix, rather U Hermitian. So let me explain. So you have this MIMO system. So you have this antenna one, you have this antenna two, you have empty transmit antennas, and now you want to transmit the same symbol X, for example, from all of these transmitting antennas, right? So what you would do, so you would multiply this X, your symbol to be transmitted, with gains. And these gains would be, so this, I'm calling it a V1, the gain corresponding to the first, so this is the scalar quantity, this is a V2, and this is VMT. And together all of this is nothing but your first the first column of the V matrix. So you take the first column of the V matrix, right, this one, and then you multiply this X with so this V1 would be the first element of this first column, so this V2 would be the second element of this column, VMT would be the last element of this column. So what you have done is you have uh, pre-coded your signal by V, where V is your the V is your first column of the V matrix. You would transmit this from all of these antennas, right? And at the receiving end, once you have received these signals, your MR receiving antennas, you would multiply and add them together. So this multiplication would be with the U with the U conjugate, where U would be your first column of the U matrix. So I'm calling it U1 conjugate as the first element of the first eigenvector in the U matrix. U2 conjugate, UMR conjugate. Remember, this U column is nothing but the first column of this U matrix. So you take this first column of the U matrix, take the individual elements, multiply at the receiving side, and then you would add them together. That will give you your Y. So you must be wondering what would you achieve by doing all this. So let's see what we have done. So effectively, what we have done is, so you had this X, you have multiplied X with a um, V vector, right? So V vector times X, your X is a scalar quantity, right? And then you have then multiplied this vector, so that goes into the channel. So you have, remember, your system model is Hx plus n. So you're entering this, this would be admitted into the channel V times x. So this gets multiplied with H, right? And once you receive this, so this would be your Y here, and then you would multiply with U Hermitian, where U is the first column. You can call it U1 Hermitian as well. So that is your Y. Similarly, you receive Y is equal to Hx plus n. This n would also get multiplied with U Hermitian, right? So now, so you would be wondering how would this give you a diversity gain? So remember, this H is nothing but U sigma V Hermitian. So you have what? You have U Hermitian times U sigma V Hermitian. Remember, these are matrices. times V times X plus U Hermitian times N. And again, U Hermitian is a has a unit norm, so uh, so it so the distribution of the noise would not change by multiplying with the U Hermitian. Right. Now this product would give you what? So remember, so U Hermitian, U would be a column vector, U Hermitian would be a row vector. So U Hermitian would be what? U1 conjugate, UMR conjugate. You have this that gets multiplied with U matrix. You have first column of the U matrix, second column, all the columns. Now, if this row gets multiplied with this column, remember this is the same column here and this is the conjugate of that, you would you would get a 1 here, right? Because these are unitary matrices and U times your emission, these are orthonormal. So this gets multiplied with this conjugate, you would get a 1 here, but it would be orthogonal to all of these columns, all of the other columns. So this when it gets multiplied with the second column of the U matrix, that would give you a 0. Third column of the U matrix, that would give you a 0. Right? So this product would earn you what? This would give you 1 and then all zeros. Right? Similarly, this V Hermitian times V would also give you a column vector with the first element of 1 and all others would be 0. And hence, effectively what would happen is, so this Y would be, you have this U Hermitian that gets multiplied with this U matrix. And remember, U matrix have the columns. Right? And you would have sigma, you would have sigma 1, sigma RH, for example. And then you would have this V matrix, where the first row contains the first eigenvector and so on. That gets multiplied with V vector, the V vector, the first column of the, this is V Hermitian, this is U, this is sigma, right? And effectively what, and plus the noise term, so I'm no space for the noise term, but that doesn't change, it will have the same distribution. That would give you 1 and all zeros. You would have this sigma. Remember, sigma 1 would also be the sigma max. And this would give you 1 and all zeros. Right? So this product, that is U Hermitian times U times sigma times V Hermitian times V times X is nothing but, so remember this times, uh, so this times this would give you um, uh, give you a column vector, and then this times this column vector would give you a scalar quantity. So this would nothing be, and that scalar quantity would be sigma max, because this one would get multiplied with the sigma max, all other sigmas would get multiplied with zeros, right? And hence this product, this entire product is nothing but sigma max times x. And plus, of course, you would have this term of the noise, right? So then you can call it N tilde, and that is your Y. That is your received signal. So received signal Y is equals to sigma max times X plus N. So you have made use of the MIMO channel, and uh, that would give you, that would increase, because sigma max is the maximum value, the highest singular value of the channel, right? And that this would give you an output that increases your signal to noise ratio, or the maximum diversity gain would be achieved in this fashion, right? So in short, you would transmit this X gets multiplied in an equivalent fashion with sigma max, right? And then some noise gets added, right? here is your Y. That is your effective channel using this transformation, and that would give you the maximum diversity gain possible because sigma max um, is the maximum singular value of the channel, right? So that is great. That means that your received signal to noise ratio. So what would be your received signal to noise ratio here? So Rx SNR received signal to noise ratio would be uh, if P is your transmit signal power. So your received signal to noise ratio would be sigma max times P divided by your noise variance. So don't confuse this sigma squared to the this sigma max. This is your noise variance, right? And hence, if you want to say what is the capacity of this channel, if you compute the capacity would be simply B log base 2 of 1 plus signal to noise ratio, which is sigma max times your transmit signal power divided by sigma squared, which is your noise variance, right? Noise variance. So that is your capacity as well. This sigma squared is nothing but expected value of n times n Hermitian, if you recall. That is your transmit covariance matrix. Sorry, not transmit. This is noise covariance matrix. So that is the diversity gain that you can get. But there is a fundamental question here that how many dimensions of if you have an empty transmit antennas, MR receiving antennas, right? And what dimensions you would use for diversity and what other dimensions you would use for multiplexing. So that is a fundamental trade-off between the diversity and the multiplexing that we hinted towards in the beginning of the MIMO lectures as well. So what is the maximum diversity gain here, by the way? So remember, um, so that would depend upon how many independent number of multipaths you would have. So for diversity gain, you would define your signal to noise ratio. What is your signal to noise ratio? And this to the power minus of d would be your error probability. Typically, you would define eventually, depending upon what modulation schemes you have, what type of fading distribution you have, what type of combining you are using. So eventually, your average symbol error probability can be written in terms of this signal to noise ratio to the power something minus of something. So this minus of something is related to a diversity gain. So this is defined as a diversity gain, in fact. And when we were looking at the diversity combining, we said that the number of independent multipaths, this shifts your bit error rate performance curve towards the left. So the higher the number of independent multipaths, the higher diversity gain you will get. So if you compute log of PE on both sides, that would give you minus D log of SNR, and hence you can define your diversity gain is simply defined like this. So this D is equals to minus limit SNR approaches infinity log of PE divided by log of SNR. So that is a typical definition of the diversity gain you have. That means that is the minus of the slope of the bit error rate curve, right? Where your bit error curve is drawn is log of PE would be on your x-axis, y-axis, log of SNR or SNR in dBs would be on your on your x-axis. So this is nothing but the minus of the slope of the bit error rate curve at high SNR. So in the high SNR regime, right? So that is the uh, formal definition of the diversity gain, and this D would always be proportional to the number of independent multipaths independently fading paths you can get. So if you have MT number of transmitting antennas, MR number of receiving antennas, your D would be proportional to MT times MR. That is the maximum diversity gain you can get with MT transmitting antennas and MR receiving antennas, because that is the maximum number of the independently fading multipass you get. So you would not see a direct relation, or you cannot see it, but that is proven using the curves we saw in the chapter 7. So the higher the number, so for example, the optimal scheme that we used for diversity combining was a maximum ratio combining, and we said that as we increase the number of branches, your curves shift towards the left. So as we increase the number of branches, your your bit error performance decreased by this, which was proportional to the number of independently fading branches. So you would get typically an equation where your error probability would be related to the signal to noise ratio to the power of minus of the independently fading paths that you can receive. Right? So that is the nature of the nature of the channel, because you would be receiving independently fading multipass, and if you receive independently fading multipass, you would get this kind of a relation of the error probability with respect to the signal to noise ratio. So that is your diversity gain, and the maximum diversity gain which you can have is MT times MR. Similarly, we talked about the multiplexing gain, and we said that the maximum diversity maximum. So this is your maximum diversity gain. Right? So D would be for the diversity gain. So now, what is the maximum multiplexing gain you can have? So let's define that. Let's call it R. Right? So let R be the multiplexing gain. And remember, we said that multiplexing gain is related to the number of parallel channels you can have, the number of parallel stream that you can have in a MIMO channel. So we would always be working in the high SNR regime. That means we would assume that your SNR is much greater than 1. And that would mean that if we define our spectral efficiency to be R prime, that which is equals to your maximum data that you can transmit over a channel divided by B. That means you want to normalize it with respect to B. That would be equals to summation I equals 1 to RH. Remember, RH is the maximum number of channels that you can have, where RH is the rank of the channel matrix, log base 2 of 1 plus signal to noise ratio. So in the high SNR regime, you can say that this R prime, which is the bits per second per hertz that you can transmit in the channel, that would be summation I equals 1 to RH log base 2 of the signal to noise ratio. Right? And this would be equals to RH times log base 2 of SNR. This R prime is the maximum bits per second per hertz that you can transmit over a MIMO channel. So we define this multiplexing gain R, and we say that let this R would be less than or equals to RH. Where RH, remember, is the rank of the channel matrix, and if the channel matrix is full rank, that would be equals to the minimum of MT, MR. So if you have say R streams instead of RH streams, then your bits, um, then the data rate that you would transmit would be equal to R times log base 2 of SNR. That would be your maximum data that would transmit. You can call it R prime, for example. And that would mean that your multiplexing gain, you can then define this as limit as you're in the high SNR regime, limit SNR approaches infinity, your multiplexing gain is R prime as a function of SNR divided by log base 2 of SNR. So this is your definition of the multiplexing gain, and the maximum multiplexing gain would be RH, that is minimum of MTMR. Okay? So um, that is the maximum uh, multiplexing gain that you can get. If your channel is not full rank, then your multiplexing gain would be less than minimum of MTMR. So now the standard question or the main question is, um, if you have a certain number of multi-transmit antennas, if you have a certain number of receiving antennas, which dimensions should you use for diversity, and what dimensions it should be used for the multiplexing. So if you have a combination, so suppose you have MT number of transmitting antennas, MR number of receiving antennas, right? This would mean that maximum diversity gain, the max that you can get is would be equals to MT times MR, which is the maximum number of independently fading paths that you can have, and R max that you can have is minimum of MTMR. Can you have a situation in between? Can you use few of these dimensions for creating parallel channels and the other for the diversity? And that is the classic diversity multiplexing trade-off that was studied by Zhang and Shea and in 2003 in the classic paper in 2003. So let's talk about the diversity multiplexing trade-off. One thing that you can already notice is that if you want to increase your R, your D would decrease. And if you want to increase your D, your R would decrease. So increasing your multiplexing gain would decrease your diversity gain. Increasing your diversity gain would decrease your multiplexing gain. So that is the classic trade-off. And the fundamental design problem is that uh, how many antennas should be used for creating the multiplexing gain, and how many antennas should be used for creating for the diversity gain. And in their famous paper in 2003, Zhang and Xi in 2003, they they came up with a optimal d d optimal, and that was a function of r. That if we assume a certain multiplexing gain, what would be the optimal value of the diversity gain that you can get? And they came up after a long derivation a very intuitive expression, that is the maximum or the optimal diversity gain for a given r would be mt, which is the number of transmitting antennas, minus r multiplied with the number of the receiving antennas minus r. So that is the equation where r would be greater than or equals to 0 and less than or equals to the minimum of MTMR, which is its maximum value, right? So that is a very important result that gives you a trade-off between the diversity gain and the multiplexing gain, right? So remember, R is your multiplexing gain, D is your diversity gain, and if you want to visualize it, let's visualize it for a given value of MT and MR. Suppose you have three antennas at the transmitting end, three antennas at the receiving end. Let MT is equals to MR is equals to 3. And if you want to build a table of R and D, right? So if R is equals to 0, then you would get the maximum diversity gain. That would be 3 times 3, that would be equals to 9. If R is 1, then you would get a D of 4. If R is 2, then you would get a D of 1. Right? So remember, what is D? MT minus R times MR minus R. Right? And if R is equals to 3, if all the dimensions are used for the multiplexing, then you will get no diversity gain. So that's a classic trade-off. And if you plot, for example, on this axis you have your R, and on this axis you have your optimal D as a function of R. So when R is equals to 0, you will get the maximum value here. In this case, it would be 9. In general, it would be MT times MR. This would decrease. Finally, when D equals to 0, you would get the maximum value of R, and that would be minimum of MT, MR. Right? And in this case, this would occur when R is equals to 3. So your minimum of MT, MR would be equals to 3. And that would be the maximum multiplexing gain that you can get, right? So that it starts with, in this case, it starts with 9, comes to 4, comes to 1, and comes to 0, right? And this is a general curve where you have MT number of transmitting antennas and MR number of receiving antennas. So let's look at try to understand this from an example. So suppose you are given that you have 8 transmitting antennas at the receiving end, 8 8 transmitting antennas and 8 receiving antennas, and you're given that R prime that you want to achieve is 15 bits per second per hertz. That is typically R prime is your application requirement. So so depending on the application you are running, what is the data rate requirement for that particular application? So R prime is your application requirement, and the SNR on average is say 15 dBs. And now you want to compute which number of dimensions should be used for multiplexing and which should be used for diversity. So remember, your R, which is your multiplexing gain, is nothing but your R prime as a function of SNR divided by log base 2 of SNR. So that would be equal to 15 bits per second per hertz divided by log base 2 of 10 to the power 1.5. That is your SNR in the linear scale, and that would be approximately equals to 3. This is approximately equals to 3. So in other words, you can use um, three antennas at the transmitting end and three antennas at the receiving end for the multiplexing, and then the rest of the dimensions, that means your D would be equals to 8 minus 3 times 8 minus 3. And the rest of the 25 other dimensions can be used for diversity. So your diversity order would be 25. That means you would have 25 independently fading multipaths available, which can improve your diversity gain or improve the slope of the bit error rate curves. And the number of dimensions that is required for achieving the target throughput would be equals to 3. So that is how you would think about the diversity multiplexing trade-off. right? So we'll stop here and come back in the next video.